Welcome to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. Man, I tell you what, I feel extremely blessed with doing what I do and just having this podcast. To tell you all, I started this podcast about 14, 15 months ago. Really had no idea what I was going to gain from it other than, hey, listen, I was going to prepare, get on here, talk a little bit, talk a little nonsense. Didn't have all the direction I was going to go. The original title was Hires Talks. I didn't even have it dialed. I didn't even say Mortgage Talks. And, it really helped me just develop on where I wanted to go with my business even further. And then I started adding in guests. And then I realized what this podcast can really bring, which is me learning more than anybody probably, and learning from guests that are just better than me in some certain way, ahead of me on something. We can collaborate, and it's just I'm extremely blessed to have just started this thing, and then extremely blessed for people coming on here, sharing. And I hope you all understand this is from a giving spirit. I just want to give you the best. I want to have people on here that helps you grow, helps me grow, and hopefully you're getting that from it. Uh, I want you all to understand I'm a work in progress. I'm still trying to grow. I don't have everything figured out. I have stumbles and I have things going on in my head that I'm space that shouldn't be. And with this new journey going to a new state, I've certainly had to, again, I've had to lace them up, and man, I've had to, almost eat some humble pie because I don't have this brand in this market. Nobody knows who the heck Adam Hires is in this market. And it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge to say, hey, how do I again scale? It's taken me back to grassroots. I've called, I've called people, and but it's beautiful. I'm growing. I'm getting relationships. Had a great meeting today. Had had a guy on my Zoom call with my real estate, or with my team, and I'm extremely blessed to have the team that I have, to built that team, and then I can introduce these partners to what I have going on. And uh, what I can tell you too to grow is that when you have a system and when you really believe in your system, you're very authentic, it really resonates with real estate agents. And one question that I would really like you to ask, and I ask this, and this is my commitment question, and as Dallas Hardcastle says, no, we don't like to close people, we like to open them up. And opening them up is the question I ask is, do you feel like there's any benefit to using us? It's very simple, but it's very elegant. And I'll tell you the elegance in it is because it opens them up to saying yes, and you ask them why. And when they tell you that, they say, hey, I like it because I like y'all because y'all are systematic, because y'all do this. When they're telling you that, remember, who are they telling? They're telling themselves why it's important for them to use you, what the value add you have. And also, you can collect that data and go, hey, this is what we're bringing to our partnership. And this is what we have to make sure that we live up to. And so when I have people on with my team, they hear that and they know the non-negotiables we have when we have a partner. And now it's like when they get off the call, we know what we have to do to gain partnership, true partnership, and continue to grow with this partnership. And I say it all the time is I try to earn the deal every single time somebody sends a client over. I don't care if I've been doing business with them for years. Every single time they send a deal over, we have to earn that business the next one. That's how the mentality is. But I would really encourage you when you talk to people, say, do you feel like there's any benefit to using me after you have some back and forth? When they say yes, ask them why, and then get into that. You can also get into really pain points. Well, I like communication. I like your communication. Have you had a little problem with communication before? Absolutely, I've had a problem with communication. Oh man, is that what happened? Oh, this happened. You're getting into pain points. You're getting their pain of why they would like to use you instead of somebody else, and get them out of that pain. So you want to stay in the pain, then have the comforting feeling of what you can do, and then you need to deliver. Right? You have to deliver. So there's none of this is trickery. This should be something that you do that you know you're going to live up to. This is about putting your best foot forward. And sales, like I've heard this so many times, and I even heard this from a real estate agent not long ago. I don't really like sales. It's like, well, that's not good. But the whole thing I would ask is, what's your definition of sales? And if your definition of sales is the sleazy car salesman down the road, then maybe you have a bad idea of what sales at its truest form is. It is a love language, people. Sales at its highest form is a love language. It's moving people to where they should already be. It's, again, I've used this example. It's the person that is going to be diabetic or is diabetic that's going to die if they don't make changes. And you're selling them on the fact that what they need to do to be better, to be in shape, right? Sales is in all forms. You could be a wife talking to your husband to make a change like that. And you're in sales of some sort. You're just moving them to where they really should be in the first place. And so it's not trickery. It's about moving them where they need to be and then delivering on what you promised them. So I would hope, if you're a real estate agent out there and you're listening to this is absolutely for you. Like, this is what I want to do when I'm talking to someone, and that's a vision I carry with my team, is to help you grow your business and deliver on what we're talking about. And if you're a real estate agent out there trying to grow your business, think about this and how it can apply to yours. And when you're trying to get business partnerships, and again, I talk about real estate agents all the time, you're missing this big boat if you're not going after real estate partners. You have this big house that you're selling and you're going consumer direct. Stop just going consumer direct. There's business partnerships out there that can get you multiple deals a year. Use them, leverage them, help them. Do the same kinds of principles I'm doing. It's not only loan officers can do this, guys and girls. It's your insurance agent, your financial planner, whatever you're in, you can directly have partnerships get you multiple deals a year that are your multipliers. So I know I've talked about it before. We'll go out there and do it. Help your business partnerships. Things here in Georgia, again, I'm locking down more commitments for people send me business as real estate agents, and that's great. And we got to continue to deliver, and we will deliver. And so just get out there, make the dials. Again, go to Dallas Hardcastle if you're looking for a copywritten script writer and a video that's going to move the needle. My Hires Loans has it. That way it's actual video sales letter. It's not the same old stuff you see. I got a video sales letter for my Power 4 event that's going to continue to indoctrinate people, business partnerships to come to my event, that they're going to show up right. And I'm going to leverage partnerships from that. So be different, be the exception, but pick up the phone, make the dials, and then make sure that you hire the team that you need and hire ahead, people, because if you start doing all those things, you're going to need the team because you need to be playing offense all the time. So that's what I got. That's my little soliloquy for the day. But I want to get on the guest because he's going to say a lot better stuff than I'm going to ever say because the guy is big time crushing it in business life. And he has a great book. I'm just going to say it's a badass book here. And I'm looking forward to hearing from our guest, Rene Jacques. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Man, we got this book, guys. So you got to get it. The Athlete's Advantage in Business. I absolutely love that. That is a title that absolutely speaks to me. Love to hear about that and that journey and just a little bit about yourself there.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate the support and this book is a culmination of, years and years and years of my life. And I took this as something that when I turned the corner in business, I started to, look inside and see what those changes were, how I was turning the corner and what has catapulted me. And you know what? The basis of it is all the stuff that I learned while in sports. So a little bit of background on me. I'm out in Sacramento, California right now, but I grew up in the Bay Area in Oakland. Both of my parents were worked in the hospitals back then, and I'm an ex basketball player. So basketball was my life all the way up through about 24 years old, and played on some really good travel teams. My high school team was top 25 in the nation my sophomore year on. My travel team was top 5 in the nation my senior year. Played with multiple NBA players, and although I was never the tallest, the fastest, jumped the highest, to stay up with these uber talented people around me, you had to have something a little bit different, and the work ethic and being smart out on the court is something that I leaned on. So it did allow me to get a full ride scholarship to Sacramento State. That's where a lot of stuff came even more to light there, because we were not close to being as successful in college as I was in high school when it came to sport. And that's where, the real groundwork of where what catapulted me in business started, because it opened my eyes to teamwork and how important teamwork is. I always say teamwork produces power. Not that my teammates were not as good at the secondary level, but it was different when you're having a collection of people that hadn't played together for a long time, and from different areas. You got to have the right fit when it comes to that. But the things that I've learned through that, being coachable, being a leader, dealing with good teammates, dealing with bad teammates,
Mm.
studying your competition. How do I get an edge on my competition, being first in, last out, if I can outwork the competition. But in reality, even in college where I saw just being in the gym wasn't enough, working hard, smarter, not harder. These are all things that are the basis of not only the book, but of what I've taken and applied to everything that I do in business. And that's where the book originated from, is that background.
I love it. I mean, I think that, well, I know it's definitely helped me, using, my background and, because we briefly talked off air where I wasn't into any kind of business at all. I was working. I wasn't a bum, but I wasn't really trying to do anything but get by and power lift. And then when I shifted focus, like it became really good, really quick. On the things I focused on, because I just used that laser like focus I had on, and just moved it, to what I was doing now. And you know the discipline you have to put in, and you have to push through the pain points, and growth hurts. I mean, growth hurts, but it's only going to last for so long until you break through the other side. And all those things that go along with being an athlete, or trying to have that focus. I love it. And you certainly, this is not just a book for that. It's like he just wrote a book and the guy's not, has practical application. I mean, you're crushing it in the loan game. I mean, so man, I'd love to hear about that. And you all out there, this is the guy that you should listen to. He is, I mean, he's doing it. He's doing it right. I mean, he's growing. He's grown a lot the last year, because he does have the athlete's advantage in business.
Yeah, you know what? It takes a lot of the reservations for trying to, like, shoot for the stars, and you know, you continue to try to progress no matter how long you've been doing it. So I started in loans in 2003, have always been, if not the top, one of the top producers at previous companies. I got my broker's license a long time ago, but didn't finally open my own brokerage until just over 7 years ago. So it started with just me, my business partner, and an assistant. And now we have 21 people in the company right now, 11 loan officers and 10 support staff is what we have. And we're a small yet mighty company. You know, just last year, obviously, there's a lot of people doing really, really well in our industry, and we need to ride the waves when we have good rates or whatever the case may be. But this has been such an opportunity over this last year with people being busy on all parts of our industry. You know what's going out the window? The attention to detail and the support that we have for our real estate agents. And, you know, a lot of our real estate agents have noticed that portion of it. And you know what? I know for me, my commitment to the clients has been for them not to feel how busy we were. And that meant putting, you know, 10, 12, 14 hours in certain days, doing a lot of stuff outside of business hours. But you know what? That translated to almost closing 250 transactions last year, and at right at 100 purchases. You know, in a refi boom, still closing 100 purchases with my real estate partners with no marketing. It's all by referral. It's all by working hard for my referral people that are out there. That's a good number for just me, and my other loan officers are kicking butt as well. So, you know, once again, it's been a huge opportunity. Were you prepared for this test of what this last year gave to us? You know, business was good, but I spent a big portion of last year thinking it wasn't good enough, meaning a level of service, because with a lot of transactions, it makes the challenge of the communication level, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
you see a lot of us, a lot of the people who are listening to this, you know, the numbers look great, but hey, did we hit home runs every single time? The answer is probably going to be no, unless you're a perfect agency. But you know, that's where the growth happens, and that's what I took last year. Was a big time test. We put good numbers in, but in reality, we've worked so much on the business to try to make sure that we just tighten up loose ends and become more and more efficient, because the limit is not 250 transactions. The limit is well above that. We haven't even scratched the surface. Now we have to put some systems in place.
Absolutely. I love it. I mean, you hit it because, yeah, we always have to work on the systems. We always have to work on like, what could we have done better? I mean, we should constantly go back to that. And I ask my team all the time, and I actually hired a new person on 3 weeks ago. And so Friday I call her up and was like, hey, how's things going? Because I talked to her, but you know, I also have my staff kind of take care of her. And I said, I want to hear, so you don't have to have a big, you know, speech on Monday, but I do want you to be prepared. I'm going to ask you, like, what do you think? And like, what could we do better? And so, because fresh eyes. And so, you know, we always have to continue to fresh eyes, what we can do better, what communication. And actually the video that I had that Dallas Hardcastle helped me with, and, you know, the copywriter had was one of the lines in there, most entrepreneurs build their business for growth. I built mine for communication, and growth will take care of itself. And so if we build it for communication, like just being masterful in communication, it's just going to grow. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head, because you're saying the same thing. Like, what could we have got better in communication? And you know, I would say maybe you don't have the same feedback as I do, but I would say you probably do. When you ask real estate agents, what's the number one thing, the key? And 90% of them at least will say communication.
Of course. You're
Communication.
100%.
It's like everybody complicates, like, I need to give them all these leads. Oh my gosh, I need to go sponsor this. I need to go. And it's like, just be a master in communication and let them know how you're going to communicate. Like I get deals all the time just saying, listen, like every single Tuesday, you will get an update. The seller agent is going to get update. Your buyer's going to get update every single time. That's our non-negotiable. You're going to get an update every single time. And then you follow through with it. And they're like, right. I mean, then the seller agent's like, oh, this is pretty cool. Right.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
simple, but man, I mean, people just don't do it.
take it one step further. If that's the promise that you make to them with every Tuesday on the active files, what if every Wednesday they heard whatever lead that they sent over? I know that's on my
Right.
list, and my team
Yes.
helps me with that. They get an update on what's the status, when's the last time you communicated with them, and what's the next step. If you interview those same real estate agents and ask them if they've sent the lead out and not gotten any response on what it was, 10 out of 10 would raise their hand that
Yes.
somebody has done that. So
Love
to
it.
know that you have a system that is set it and forget it for a real estate agent, that is the absolute key. You talked about that in the beginning of this, is how you believe in your system. You have a system in place. And to me, when I'm speaking to any real estate agent, if I can't make your life easier, then this is not the relationship that we need to be in anyway. I'm not in it for you to send me transactions. Like, I got to figure out a way that I can fit into your business. And it's different for each agent. Their
Mm.
businesses are set up different,
Yep.
but I need to be able to bring value, make your life easier. I know I have my things that are set that are very easy for you to plug and play into,
Mm.
but we got to find ways to support our teammates. And that's really what it's all the goal is. So,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one thing, like I was, so when again, I was talking about this in my last podcast, is how, I always go, what am I doing better now than I did in my beginning? But then I also like, what was I doing better at the start? And one of the things like I always go back to is my enthusiasm just as high, right? That's number one, with the client, with the relationship, all that. And then it's like, as I grow out my team, are they embodying the same kinds of things in the vision? And so they have been, because I finally hired correctly, got this great team. And then, but then it's like, then we start looking at the numbers. Are we getting enough current client referrals, right? And then it's like, okay. So then I implemented the system every single week. Um, the one my business partner that is doing the updates on Tuesday has to send me a ask form. Like they ask for business when they talk to them. Send me it with who they ask for business every Wednesday. And then my loan partner that takes care of the leads coming in, the lead tracker, has to send me, because he has outbound on that same thing what you're talking about. Wednesday, they talk to the client, pre-approved buyer or credit repair, and then also update the agent, right? And then did they ask for another one? And so when I presented this to one of the last people I just talked to that says, hey, committed here in Georgia, I went through that and I said, my non-negotiable is these things, and they have to send me an actual sheet. Like, I didn't say, hey, we do it. I said, they have to send me a sheet, and I will show it to you if you'd like me to, where they do it. They're asking for business from the people that you're going to send over. You're going to get updated, and they're going to ask you for business, right? And like, it's like, I don't think any other business people do that. And if they do, they never talk about it. And I'm like, right? So if you're doing it out there, people, you also have to talk about it. You have to actually tell them like what you're doing, which is key. And then the other thing was a really good win. I had we're talking, the deal was like, it's going $20,000 off the appraisal. So we're working it out and everything. And we're a 3-way call with the client and the real estate agent. And the real estate agent, we're all buttoning up. And at the end of the call, I say, I'm not going to name their name, but I said, Miss Johnson, let me ask you something. Do you know anybody else that me and him can help? Actually, right? He's like, yeah, I forget off the call. He's like, man, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm like, yeah, right. And so even on the call, I'm asking, but it's so simplistic, but it's communication, following up, and you said it. Like you're partnering with people. So I love it, man. We're speaking the same language. I love it.
exactly. Definitely are.
Yeah. So I love it. So, um, Rene, so I want to dive in a little bit more about like what's your mindset, like where you're trying to get. What do you think that where your growth has happened this last year and going to next year? Like, is there things that you're working on now that, that you're having to expand your mind? What's going on in some of your business?
Yeah, and great question. Here's the thing, I'll give a little context to it because I will say that early in 2020, as stuff was shutting down, however, business was through the roof, that was perceived like a breaking point at that time
Mm-hmm.
because I was literally putting another 5 hours or so outside. As soon as my little man went down, get back on the computer 8, 9 o'clock, and it would be after midnight. And I wake up at 5:03 every morning. So many days doing a month straight of something like that was really tough. However, when we hit the number and finally started closing 30 deals in a single calendar month and everything, I can look back at that and realize what I call that point where you not only want to quit or you not think it's worth it. I call that a breakthrough indicator. So
Mm-hmm.
I realized at that point in time that the growth was right around the corner, and that's now what I'm looking at is trying to find those breakthrough indicators and knowing when I can take it to the next level. So my own personal view, it was kind of a mind shift of my capacity and knowing that where I thought was my limit not only wasn't my limit, but wasn't even close to it. And it has really opened my eyes to it. So now, because of that breakthrough and adding the right teammates in the right places, the coverage and really going into a who, not how mentality of trying to
Mm-hmm.
find people who can take some of the busy work off of me to allow me to do what I'm really good at the back end stuff. I'm really good at crunching numbers. I'm really good at submitting files. But in reality, speaking to my real estate partners and speaking to clients and having that high communication is where the next level is. So we continue to add to the team and wanting this. I know the refinances won't be here forever. I want to make sure that we're closing 250 to 300 purchase transactions per year, not just transactions in general. So how do you get that covered? It's making sure that the team is able to, when the files are active and when I'm speaking with clients and recreating myself, the team is there. I know that's what you're doing as well, but that part is there to make sure that when we're working through these files, that they just feel and know that they're the most important, even when we have 60 open files at the time. That takes me one step further. My conversations with my real estate partners have been a little bit different this year. I spent the entire last year building up the team to allow them to leverage my team for them. So, like I
Yeah.
said, each individual real estate agent, what they need from me and my team is different. I have one agent that loves and does a ton of open houses, and that's how they get their leads. But he works them absolutely correctly. Now, with our list of stuff, we can divvy it up, and I can have my team following up and setting more appointments for them and being a follow-up and an extension of him because it doesn't have to just be him there. And others, they want to circle market a specific listing. We team up when it comes to things like that. Others, it's plenty enough because they have a ton of leads. Us updating them on how the lead is each and every Wednesday, is life changing to them. Just knowing
Yeah.
that it's a set it and forget it for them. So my conversations with my real estate partners and my referral partners has just been different because we've really tried to dive in to where it is. How can I scale their business? And I'm the owner of Golden Bay Mortgage Group. I own two other corporations as well. I think of things as a business and try to ask them the correct questions and see how they can scale their business. Ask them and challenge them. These are these challenge conversations with them to see, hey, are you thinking too small? I'm not going to say that you're thinking too small, but have you thought of this? When you only have 24 hours in a day and you have to show this many houses, how are you going to get to that next breakthrough? And we're coming through and finding these things as a collaborative thing and talking through it together. And that's where the change is. That's where the change of mindset has been over the last like 90 to 120 days.
I love it. I love it. And one of the things I want to hit on where you started, like, hey, I'm good on the back end stuff, but hey, my partners, need to just, basically, I'm there when you need it, and I'm in charge of the ship. I think is very valuable. It's like, so I had and I love to learn from every situation. I'm always look. I think that's what makes us students. Like we're always like looking for examples to learn. And so there was a title issue. I had a title issue on one of them, right? And so somehow, like, this is always a thing that just like annoys you, right? Because I have this great title company. They're great. It's one I use. They're the ones I try to send everything to that I can. But so I get we like slam dunk this thing, right? Slam dunk it, and then there's a title issue for the seller payoff. And they don't have a clean title. And then basically it like I'm getting messages from real estate agents saying, well, it's basically balls in y'all's court. I'm like, well, right. Oh, it's us. It's like the lender, right? And so I was like, okay, making sure that I was on the same page, and I called the title company, and I'm like, okay. So then I was like, well, you know what? I'm calling the owner, my buddy, the one that, and I'm like, hey, um, first of all, like, um, the communication, what happened to communication? Like, is it like, why is it saying, why is it almost like it's coming back like it's us? Like if it's good, it's good, then have the underwriter and y'all's file overwrite the file and give us a clean title, right? Like we shouldn't feel better about this than y'all do, right? But I want to know about the communication of how it's like perceived, like we're the hang up here. We're not the hang up. And so he said, but here's where the point that comes to where you're talking about. He says, man, I'm sorry. I don't know everything going on in this file. Can you, I was like, brother, like, I understand you're a business owner. Like, I don't expect you to know it. Like, I'm just making you aware. So now you can coach your client or your people. And then, hey, can we get this fixed tomorrow? Which he did. He fixed it the next day. He made sure the communication, it can never fault. Like, if anything, title should be taking bullets, right? And the communication was there. But the fact is, I never got mad at him, and I never like cared. But the big thing is, I knew he would take care of the situation. And so he didn't have to know everything about the file, and he didn't have to. But I think as loan officers, you could probably attest this. You've probably been at that at some point. I've been at that at some point. Like it's like this dirty secret, right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to grow. And then I don't know everything I don't know if they got a pay stub in. I don't know if they have a bank, and it's like, then you start to realize like people don't really care about that much, right? They want to know when the rubber hits the road, like you're going to make sure that you handle situations, that you coach your team, that you're going to make stuff happen at the end of the day.
That was a hard thing for me. I mean, I hampered and just hovered around, 90 to 100 closings for years and years and years because I was so worried about the mistake and my hands were so in every portion of it. And, I credit my business partner, Cam Villa, for helping me slowly but surely, peel back my control on a file. You cannot put up big numbers and do everything. However, just like you said, you hired correctly. I needed to make sure that the people that are working on my behalf care as much about my clients as I do. And once again, this is a team thing, right? Being with the basketball background, we needed to make sure that the team was the right team where everybody was committed to the same thing. Until that happened, I wasn't willing to give up the power on that, but it also hampered me from hitting numbers that I know that I was capable of. So that's part of the growth. Control control freak. I'm putting my hand up here.
Everybody is okay.
Had to look inward and be really real myself about the process. And if I truly was committed to giving everybody the highest and best service, it would be with people, but more than just myself is how I can get that accomplished.
And I tell you, here's where it happens. I think guilt plays a little bit of a play because I know for me, here's where I struggle with, and here's how I kind of get over it. And maybe you can talk about this. Maybe there's something different for you listeners out there. Maybe you can kind of attest is that as I grew, like because I used to, again, I was I was putting up good, and I was doing everything, and I had all this, and people loved me because I was right there. And then, as you grow, you're not talking to the client quite as much and everything else. You can talk to them, they can still make your wild calls. There's things you can do, but you're obviously not involved as much. And so, as I knew, as and even as you think, okay, as I scale, if I double, like I can only make those wild calls. I can't talk, but and I had to, okay, well, man, what about the client? Like, if they're gonna feel as much love from me? And then I realized I kind of made it. It kind of had a revelation. Like, my love for my client is actually through my team.
Right.
My care and my love for my client is projected through my team. That is how I'm showing love for my client, because I'm doing everything I can to pour in my team and help them grow and show the vision. And so I may not talk to them as much, but the love for my client has not went down.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it's went up. And I am helping my team project as much love onto my client.
That's a
And
great.
I want them to have feel more love than they did when it was just myself, because we got a team that just was like, and guess what's happening? They're like, oh my gosh, your team, oh, and I talk to them like, oh, they were great. Oh my gosh, they're, right. And they feel loved and they feel cared for.
Agreed. Our clients appreciate that. And here's the thing. I mean, the way that I do my business, not everybody is like this, but when my referral partners send it over, the client talks to me first, and they talk to me when I
Yeah.
complete sell the deal. But when it turns into an active file, I give the introduction
Yep.
there's team working on it even before it becomes active, even though I'm speaking
Yep.
with them. But when it comes active, it gets turned over to a loan partner who's going to be their best friend through the process. And our clients really appreciate it. They want somebody that's speaking directly with the underwriter that knows the
Mm-hmm.
most up-to-date stuff. They just, I, I, I definitely make sure my team knows that even though I know how much is going on in the background and how hard everybody's working, our personality has to go get through, and we have to make sure that the clients understand that as well. We've
Yeah.
made huge strides in that, been using a lot more video updates to put the personality out there. And a lot of it fell on me of correctly setting up my team and pulling back the curtain to let the people know what's going on in the background. So, it's a big hurdle, especially with the volume. When you have over 100 transactions open and active at the same time, you have multiple loan partners working on different ones. It's a lot to juggle, but our clients truly appreciate when they know how much effort we're putting into it.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. You've, I mean, kudos to you for, breaking through that barrier. You talk about control freaks. I mean, I think that most people out there probably listen to this are control freaks, because that's why they are listening to this. They're trying to grow. And when you're trying to grow, you always have that sense of pride, like I can do it better, which is also an ego thing we kind of have to release. But I get it, because we want, we want to help. And I always call it bear hugging a file. Like, I stopped bear hugging a file. Like, it's like, okay, just can't bear hug it. And understand there's going to be things that are not always going to go perfect, and it's imperfect business. um but also having self-confidence, like you can still have that conversation and overcome something, and stop pointing to the one deal that you lost because of your team, quote unquote, and think about the 10 that you picked up and you served at a high level because you did have a team. And so, I think at any time, I mean, I would say that your clients are just, they're taken care of great. I mean, just knowing you, knowing what you're about, knowing your attitude, just how you speak, that your clients are taken care of more than the person right down the street. And that's come through the love and care for your team and how you operate. And they're probably, in a lot of ways feeling better about it now than when you're a lone wolf. And sometimes if you're out there, people like understand, like, it can be done. It's not easy, but I would say number one thing you need to hire for, and I know for myself, and you probably can say, is culture. You're going to have to hire for someone that, again, you said it, they have to care. I remember, I remember my first loan officer assistant they gave me. And I said, that's when I have to take control and hire my own. But they they gave me and like a deal wasn't going to close on time or whatever. It was like early on in my career, and she's like, "Oh, it's not going to close on time." Okay, and I was like, "Seriously?" Like it didn't ruin her last 30 seconds. It wasn't going to close on time. That's not what you want. Like if it's just like, oh, it's just good. Okay, we'll close it next week. Whoa! I mean, you need to find somebody else. They need to care about that file. They need to care about
Exactly.
excuse me, I shouldn't say the file. They need to care about that client and
Right.
what it means to them because that's a huge deal.
Right.
It's a
Right.
huge
No,
deal.
you're hitting the nail on the head there, man.
Well, so before we go, I was asked, my mission here, new state, zero context, all that. We drop you in a new state. You're me.
Mhm.
Um, you haven't written this great book. No, I'm just joking. You haven't. Yeah, but anyway, you drop in a new state. You're me. What do you do? What's the three things you do to grow your business?
Man, that's a great question. And although I've never had to recreate myself in a different state, in a different area, or anything like that, that would be very tough to do. But I know, I mean, the first thing, especially coming over with a system that you believe in and you know that you can help real estate agents that are out there. I think number one would be, teaming up with independent third party people that may be able to match
Mhm.
personalities. And that would be people like my title reps and or insurance people that we currently work with, because the reality, that's a portion of my book, it's bringing me to like-minded people who are driven, who talk a certain way to their clients, who care about their clients like I do. There's a million real estate agents out there, but not all care about your clients like you do. So I would, number one, tap into maybe those title reps, and try to get you around the people that that they know would be a good fit, since they understand your business
Love it.
trying to get accomplished too. So, every chance that I get for an active file, the listing agent on that, I'm assuming that I'm already attached to the buyer's agent, or it's our first time through, and have like an active audition of what the process is. But you know how few loan officers actually communicate with the listing agent? I mean, they
Very few.
very few. And the reality is, when you go through a transaction, you absolutely hit a home run on the loan, closing things on time and everything like that. But that communication is there. What's the first thing they're going to think? I'm like, geez, does my loan officer do that for me? That's the answer's more times than not going to be no, not every single time. And then, that leads to number three, because I alluded to it before. It's been a huge opportunity time for us, because loan officers are fat and happy and refinancing everybody under the sun, and they're not doing the little things that are out there. So because of that, I do believe the real estate agents see the writing on the wall. They want to take their business to the next level. They are reevaluating where they currently are. And so, once again, any of those leads, when it comes to my escrow officer, my insurance agent, or working on a file, having that transformative conversation and just getting a quick coffee with any of those somewhat warm leads that would be there, would be how I develop my brand. I've never marketed. I've never done mailers. I have made cold calls to agents, but it's always at a position of service. Like I said, if I can't find a way that I can help you and develop your business, then this won't be a relationship, is really what it is. Unless I can
Yeah.
bring something to you that's not there. So it would be, I know you're doing an amazing job in your new location, and starting it out that way, but people just need to hear and know, and believe and see for themselves your personality, your attention to detail, and little by little, you're planting seeds for big trees down the line in your new state of Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're saying, I mean, it's a good 90-day burn at least. I mean, it takes a second and it starts rolling. So, um, yeah, I mean, consistently getting out there and For me, it's been a good journey. It's been fun. It's been, it's also, I tell you, it's still got some suck in it because, right, it's like you want everything to happen fast, even though, like you still like, it's just like, Mach speed, you're trying to run at Mach speed. And which again, the quote I love is be urgent in your action and patient in your results, and be just, so that's what it's urgent action, urgent action, urgent action. And the results are going to come. It just takes a second. It's not going to happen overnight. And but it's certainly fun to challenge yourself. And I think that's, again, back to the athlete's advantage in business. We kind of enjoy that suck like other people don't. Sometimes it's like because for me, I think maybe you is like, I'm like, well, I'm glad it's not easy, because like, now ain't nobody else can do that. And I'm going to walk through that, and I'm going to do it. And again, we can tell everybody what to do on this, and they're still not going to do it because they're not going to push through the pain, and they're going to have all these doubts, or they're going to have like, well, this happened, all this excuse. And you know you can either Jocko Willink it and say, extreme ownership in your business, in your life, or you can make excuses. You can't have both. And so I know you're a testament to doing the right things, and just laying the foundation. And I have no doubt that wherever you're trying to go, you're going to get and beyond. And I'm sure you're going to keep growing, and then you're going to figure out, oh, I can grow again, and it's gonna lead you to places you don't even see yet. Probably you never saw yourself writing an amazing book, but you did it, brother.
I appreciate that. And one thing you said at the beginning of this that I think it was off air before we even started. You're addicted to progressing. You're addicted to learning and getting better little by little. And that's not something that everybody thinks of or has. That's something that is of the background comes from the small daily practices and whatever sport that background comes from. But when you're committed to little by little, incrementally getting better, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, you're absolutely right. So, um, everybody can find you where?
Also, well, I to find me on social media is at CEO underscore Jacques. So my last name JACQU. E is in Edward, S is in Sam, and on my social media will have links to many things. My link tree has uh, things to my book, The Athlete's Advantage in Business. We did start a nonprofit where we're going to be generating money from like our gold, our mortgage companies golf tournament will go towards helping kids and scholarship wise, getting kids into the colleges. It also has our link to our Golden Bay Mortgage Group um, app and as well as website. And just a guy trying to get better little by little, trying to be a
Yeah,
good husband, good father, good business owner, good partner to my business partners that are out there, and helping as many people along the way.
I love it. I love it. And remember this, pick up your copy, The Athlete's Advantage in Business today. You can get it on Amazon, and Jeff Bezos will deliver this to your door. Wait, oh, just like Jeff Bezos is not going to deliver your book, but he's going to get it out to you very quickly. In like the next, like it'll be like 3 minutes later, it'll get to you, and you'll be very happy because it was convenient, because he grew the business the way he was supposed to in a garage, and it grew from there. And he doesn't do every call. He doesn't look at your bank statements to make sure that you can afford this book. He just clicks and goes and has the process, right? So a little thing you can take in your own business, and you don't have to do everything just like Jeff Bezos doesn't, and you feel pretty good about the Amazon Prime here, and getting you a book in like literally I ordered something, and I think it was there 3 minutes later. So go to Amazon.com, Amazon, and get this. You can get it other places, but wherever it's convenient for you to get it, just pick the book up, read it, support this man, because he came on here to share with you, take it out of his time. He's not getting paid for this. and just do yourself a favor and support him and support yourself in growth.
Thank you very much for that. Been lucky enough that it went Amazon #1 in the United States and Canada. So the support has been, not only felt but just appreciated, every single person.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Well, again, kudos to you. Athletes advantage in business. Pick yourself a copy up. Hit up Rene. He's got a ton of knowledge and just absolutely crushing it. So again, it was an honor and a privilege for you to come on here. I appreciate you taking the time to help me and my listeners grow today.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Remember, guys, limited risk equals limited income.